Let's get underway with the tier list. Look, you guys already know what's up. If you're watching this, like, you know about the tier list at this point, right? At least I would hope so. Parameters: S tier, unquestionable best cards in the game. It gets tough when it comes to the center position because I think the center position is legitimately the weakest one in my team. Like, pound for pound, I think it is. A tier, just a shade under S tier. Maybe, perhaps, there's one or two issues with the card. Maybe just a guy in S tier is significantly better, etc. B tier, very usable cards. You might see some like outdated cards in here. Maybe some like cards that used to be really good that are just still kind of usable, but are just outdated. Maybe they got a couple glaring issues, etc. Just not as complete as the A and S tier guys. Either way, I'll talk about it. C tier, mid tier cards. I mean, they're usable in a pinch to a certain extent. The parameters are a little weird when it comes to the center tier because I feel like the center tier is kind of strange in and of itself. D tier, super specialist cards. I mean, maybe they do one or two things pretty well, but that's about it. F tier, maybe one thing. And for the most part, they don't even do it as well as like a guy in D tier who does the same thing, basically. And trash tier. Trash, that's about it. Let's get started with Evo Daryl Dawkins. C. He'll end up being low C tier. I mean, still usable in some capacity, but that's about it. Evo Matt Bonner, trash. This hurts. It actually hurts. I like this Matt Bonner card, but like, come on. It's a day one Matt Bonner. Nerlens Noel, C tier. Nerlens Noel is actually really good. He's one of those weird guys in 2K that you never expect to be very good, but for whatever reason is just incredibly good every single year. It's super strange. Collector level Alonzo Mourning, B. Pretty okay. I mean, Alonzo Mourning cards are usually pretty good in 2K. I feel like Alonzo Mourning's got a lot more love this year in 2K just because having like a defensive-minded center actually means something, at least up to this point. So this card's pretty decent, though. It would be like mid-B tier, I would say. Al Horford, B. One of the more slept-on cards. Everyone was all, I don't want to say gung-ho, but like really excited, rightfully so, about Pink Diamond Damian Lillard, but I think Al Horford might even be the better card. Like, if we're talking about like usefulness, most of the people who have Damian Lillard have other point guards they can use, but Al Horford is actually truly like one of the best reward centers we've gotten all year. Straight up. DeMarcus Cousins. This D Cousins, no joke. Like, is he top 5 center of the game? Potentially. Pretty good though, regardless. I would put him like A tier. I'm going to try to rank them within A tier, but I think all the A tier guys all play so different that it's really difficult to actually rank them. You know what I mean? NBA 75 Moses Malone, B. Yeah, I would say B. You can add any badge in the game to him, which makes him a little bit better than his primetime counterpart, in my opinion. I still like Moses Malone a lot. He's still really good in the interior, too. He's actually way better on next gen. On next gen, he's really solid, especially when you're getting paint mashed every possession, dude. It's a problem. Dunktober Jokic. C. Good. I mean, when we get a new Jokic card, Jokic is going to be really good this year. When they put his jump shot on quick, because I personally don't like his jumper like this, but he rebounds the ball really well. He passes really well. It's a solid card, just outdated, really. Antonio Davis. D. I don't know what. They just never make Antonio Davis cards good. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Every year we get a diamond Antonio Davis and an Antonio McDyson. Every year both of them suck. It's like clockwork. Arvydas Sabonis. B, I would say. You can make a case for A tier. I think he is just a little bit slow and sluggish. On next gen, he's A tier, no question. On current gen, he's like B tier. So I'm going to put him at the very top of B tier for that reason. Bill Laimbeer. Heinous jump shot, but he does everything else pretty well. Obviously, he's not dribbling out here, but he plays competent defense. He rebounds really well. He's got a big player build, etc. There's nothing really wrong with Bill Laimbeer outside of his horrendous jump shot. And even then, like, some people are good with it. I can't say is really that much worse than like Jokic's though. Like Jokic's is better, but like Laimbeer's isn't that much worse. Bill Russell. B. Just a little bit small though. You're gonna run into issues dealing with like an Arvydas Sabonis or like a Shaq. Speaking of Shaq, S. New Year's resolution Shaq is one of the most dominant centers in the entire game. There's just not many cards in this game that can really contend this dude. Like, he can't shoot threes, thankfully, When we get a Shaq that shoots threes, depending on what the landscape of like my team is looking like at that point, that could be a huge problem. Like, not kidding. Bill Walton. Dude, Bill Walton's actually pretty good, like B tier. Is he like one of the best centers in the game? No. If for 7K, is he pretty good? Yeah, absolutely. He's pretty solid for 7K for sure. He's like low to mid B tier. Kareem Abdul, I hate this Kareem. If you like this Kareem, fine, but he's just so slow, dude. He just brings you absolutely nothing, in my opinion. Nate Thurman, still B tier, but low B tier for sure. Like Walton, Moses, and Nate Thurman will end up all being right next to each other somewhere in B tier. Bob McAdoo, F. He's just outdated. When we get a new Bob McAdoo, I guarantee he's going to be A tier or B tier, though. If he's above a diamond, guaranteed. Channing Frye, low C tier with Bill Laimbeer. He can still stretch the floor and block shots, but that's about all he's got going for him. Kevin McHale, I hate this card. If you like it and want to put it in C tier, fine by me. I hate it. Also, I apologize if you're watching this on YouTube. Chances are my frame rates are going to dip and it's going to skip a couple times during the video. Just accept it. Brad Doherty. See, this is like the land of outdated cards, man. Montrezl, I hate this card so much. Like, objectively, probably D tier, but this card just made me so mad trying to do his challenges. He just like refused to rebound the ball. I hate it. Big Country. See, my boy Big Country is actually not that bad. People say he's the worst pink diamond in the game, and I would say not necessarily. He's pretty solid on next gen. He's just not great. It's like C tier. George Mikan, B. You guys know I love George Mikan. Like, he handles the ball relatively well. He rebounds really well as well. Block shots, his jump shot angers me deeply at times, but Mikan's all right. Marc Gasol, A. I actually believe Marc Gasol is A tier. I'm becoming a believer in the Marc Gasol hype, finally. It took me long enough, but I do believe in the Marc Gasol hype. Like, truly. Marc Gasol is really good. There's a reason people still use him. Adebayo. C. You could argue B tier if he has his dynamic duo, but that's where I'd put him. Same with Ayton. C. If he got that Evo, I guarantee he'd be higher, but he didn't. Kristaps. Badge count and defensive liability, I would say drop him to C tier, but he's probably the best card in C tier. Chris Bosh, who's technically a power forward, but I decided to break my own rule of doing primary positions. A, because nobody's running Chris Bosh at power forward, and B, because he didn't make the power forward list yesterday, because obviously I did it, or on Thursday, because I did it on Thursday. I would put him in S. Honestly, this card is stupid. Like, one of the best centers in this game right now. Clint Capella. I mean, he's a good defensive specialist. I'd put him in, like, C tier. Let's see. Daniel Gibson, F. Defensively, pretty good. That's about it, though. Or Daniel Gibson. Daniel Gafford. I was thinking of Boobie Gibson for some reason. Wilt Chamberlain. Outdated, but I still think good enough to be, like, low B tier. Or high C tier, I'm not sure yet. Dan Issel, trash. Dave Cowens, C. Dave Cowens is just a little bit small, doesn't really bring you too much. I mean, he's probably going to end up going up to... I'll put him low B tier. He's low B tier. I've never seen this Dave Cowens card out in the wild. I think like the first day he came out, I saw a couple, but that was about it. Flash David Robinson, A. This one is A, but spoiler alert, like the other one's going to be S tier. The only reason I put them in two different tiers is because this one can't get a few important badges. That's the only distinction between the two, really. Wendell Carter. Dunktober Wendell's like low C tier. Like, Wendell's pretty good. I actually like the card a decent amount. Yeah, David Robinson's stupid. These three are in a league of their own in regards to the center position. I know Bosh shouldn't technically be here, but I wanted to rank Bosh, so I make the rules. This is my list. Other Shaq, A. Other Shaq's A. This one's significantly better with the ability to shoot the mid-range and with a very reliable free throw. This Shaq's no joke, but just not on this one's level, in my opinion. DeAndre Jordan. You know, I was a little too harsh on this card for a while, but I would still put him in C tier. Like, I warm up to this card more and more every time I use it or see it. Ilgauskas, D. Just so slow, man. Lumbers around the court. I like Ilgauskas. He's a very good Sapphire, obviously, but that's about all you're getting from him. Christian Wood, low B tier. Still pretty decent. Defensive liability, but pretty good offensively. I would throw him like over here somewhere. Mutombo. Outdated, but I still think B tier is appropriate. Low B tier. You know what? Most people who watch these and get mad lack context. Like, I know people are going to see Arvydas Sabonis and like Mutombo and Christian Wood in the same tier and have like an absolute aneurysm. But like, they're separated by like 15 cards, all right? They're ranked within the tiers, okay? Like, in A tier, this is how I would rank it. In this tier, I would probably rank it like this too, actually. D-Rob's still the best, I think. Wang ZZ, B. Wang's tight. You guys know how I feel about Wang. That sounded bad. Dikembe, C tier, like low C tier. Great defensive card. That's about it though. Moves pretty well. Vin Baker, objectively he's F, but in my heart S. Dino Raja, C. I hope we get a better Dino soon. I do. Dwight Howard. Dwight's like B tier. He's still good. He's just really outdated and wasn't worth the lock-in at all, but good nonetheless. Eddie Curry, D. He moves okay, pretty big. That's about it. Ha Sung Yin. On next gen, he's still like C tier somewhere. On current gen, he's like D, so I'm going to put him in D tier. Hakeem Olajuwon. You know what? No, he goes low C tier. Hakeem's A tier, for sure. You could argue Marc Gasol or Hakeem is better. They're pretty similar. I think Hakeem is slightly better. He has the odd. Yeah, he has the edge, I think, personally. But I don't know. You can argue either one. James Wiseman, C. Low batch count. It's the only thing that really keeps him out of B tier, but I don't know. James Wiseman's pretty good, actually. I might move him out to B. Like, Wiseman's pretty solid. Joe Barry Carroll, F. Getting those blocks with him was just insane, dude. He's not terrible, but God. Joel Embiid. He's still pretty good, though. I would put him in, like, B. Yeah, I'd put him, like, B somewhere. Ben Wallace, as much as I like Ben Wallace, like, C tier. This Joel Embiid is a little bit better. I would put this Joel Embiid over here by, like, Horford. No, higher. I might even put him ahead of Mikan and Russell. Like, the second best card in B tier, I think, personally. Jonas Valanciunas, C. I would say C. No, low B tier. Still very usable. Not great, but usable nonetheless. This one's going to shock people, but I actually think Drummond's like B tier. Drummond's really good on the interior. Like, really. He can't shoot, but that's about it, dude. Like, he holds it down. Good luck getting past Drummond on the interior. Dunktober Kareem. He's still Kareem. He's good enough to be like low-end B tier, I think, but he's outdated. Same with Wilt, you know what I mean? I prefer Kareem over Wilt, personally, just because this one's a little newer. This DeMarcus Cousins, D. Signature Cat, like C tier. Still usable. Kevin McHale. Worst card in A tier, but I still think A tier makes sense for Kevin McHale. He's good. No, I'd put him in B. He's all right. I don't think he's on the level of these A tier guys. Decent, though. Worse than Sabonis, for sure. LaMarcus Aldridge. Yeah, like C tier somewhere. Still okay. Bagley, D. Mike Muscala, C tier. Mike Muscala's sick. I don't care what anyone says. Yao Ming, F. I hate you so much. This Alonzo Mourning, C tier. Still decent, though. I mean, that's about it. Mitchell Robinson. Okay. I'm about to do something that people are going to be very confused about. And it is this. Mitchell Robinson in B tier. Mitchell Robinson is one of the most unstoppable defensive cards in the entire game. Everything I said about Andre Drummond almost goes double for Mitchell Robinson on the defensive end. Like, this card will block more shots than any card in the game, I swear. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm biased. It's possible. Moses Malone, C. This one's C tier. Doesn't have the badge additions. Mo Bamba. People are going to get mad about this too, but C tier. Michael Thompson. Trash. I hate this card so much. Miles Turner. I still think he's good enough to be like low B tier. Outdated, certainly, but good. Vucevic. B. Wasn't really worth the headache of going to get him, I don't think, but he's still good enough to be like B tier. Omar Yurt 7. So, such a sick name, but like D tier. Marvin Bagley is going to be the worst card. I hate Marvin Bagley, dude. Patrick Ewing. B. Patrick Ewing's really good this year. He gets no love whatsoever, but I really think he's a good card this year. Truly. Colossal Shaq. I'd put him in like C tier somewhere as well. Rafe LaFrance, I would also put in C tier, right by like Jokic. Rashawn Holmes, I would put in C tier by like Bam, Ben Wallace, and Clint Capella. Rick Mahorn goes trash tier. Michael Thompson's the worst. I don't care. He sucks. Rick Smits goes best card in F tier. I hate Yao Ming. Robert Williams is actually a pretty good defensive card. I would throw him in C tier. I had a lot of fun using him, to be honest. I was shocked. Rudy Gobert is still good enough defensively that he gets D tier. Simbular sucks. Theo Ratliff kind of sucks, but sucks less than these guys somehow. Tyson Chandler is pretty solid, D. Wes Unseld, if this was the power forward tier list, I would say he's like B tier almost, but because he's the center, I think he's a little bit small. You know what? No, he's like B. He's pretty good. Low B, but B nonetheless. And then Willis Reed. Willis Reed I would put by like Bam, Rashawn Holmes, Ben Wallace, DeAndre Ayton. I think down in the comments below of the tier list. I'm sure it's going to be received well, and there's nobody who's going to disagree, but it is what it is. As always, been your boy Cheap Boots, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.